I want to thank a new recent subscriber, Laura Jo of Copper Bridge Counseling in Austin, Texas. She's a licensed clinical social worker who specializes in hoarding disorder, and I found several podcasts on her website that I really liked. One is with another licensed clinical social worker, Becca Van Tassel, who specializes in grief, loss, and life transitions. They talk about the complications of grief and the strong emotions that we place on objects. Research reflects those with hoarding issues report a greater variety and frequency of traumatic events. Losing someone can be a risk factor for someone who already has a predisposition for hoarding. I can't tell you how many posts I've read online like, my dad always had pack rat tendencies, but after my mom died, it got out of control. Or after my parents divorced, my mom started shopping compulsively and wouldn't throw anything out. What I loved about this podcast conversation was how they want to be proactive in addressing potential hoarding rather than waiting until things are at a crisis level. A lot of treatment discussion is currently focused on how to address hoarding disorder when it's gotten severe, like harm reduction, which is an approach used in more severe situations to get the home safe enough for the individual to be able to escape in case of fire. But Laura, Jo, and Becca talk about offering an opportunity to steer away from a full-blown hoarding episode through intervention and prevention. When someone experiences a loss, get in there and work on the pain they're experiencing in the moment. Move through it in a healthy way and avoid the complicated grief experience and potential hoarding. Talk about what the individual is going to do with the possessions of the loved one they lost. Because if that grief goes unprocessed for years, things can really spiral out of control. I once heard the clutter of hoarding described as unprocessed grief and unshed tears. I'll put the link to the podcast below along with Laura Jo's website. Hope you'll have a listen.